I remember when I first got my diagnosis, I was sitting in my classroom by myself and I was terrified. I cried probably 15, 20 minutes, just sat and cried, and then said, okay, that's it. I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Let's get this battle going, and started the fight from there.
My diagnosis came in August of 2019. I had just come home from the beach, and I ran out of breath walking back to my car from the beach, and I was so out of breath. I laid my head down on the garbage can. I was miserable, and I thought something is definitely not right with me. And when I came home, I saw my family doctor, and she did lung x-ray, and she also sent me, and the lung x-ray showed something that my diaphragm might have been lifted, pushed up. And the general surgeon she sent me to did a CAT scan, and he called me right that afternoon and said, I need you to come right back in the morning. So I knew something was wrong. And so I went in, and he said, we think you have stage 3 or 4 ovarian cancer.
I was diagnosed on January the 9th, 2015. After finding the lump on Christmas Eve, I had to wait, of course, through the holidays. My doctors did go ahead and send me for mammograms and ultrasounds. So when I saw the doctor, he was immediately like, probably nothing, but let's go ahead and get a biopsy tomorrow. And I had the biopsy done, and the next day he called me with the diagnosis. So that was January 9th, 2015. I don't think I'll ever forget that date.
I just retired the year before to have fun and get out and do things with my grandchildren, and it was just a huge shock. And my first question to my husband on the way home was, what are we going to do? It just took a while for all of it to register. And then he said, well, the best thing we can do is do what the doctor says and just keep living our lives.
I was given the different options: have a lumpectomy, radiation, mastectomy, and my 20-year-old daughter was with me at my first that decision-making appointment, and just looked at the doctor and said, can she have a double mastectomy because of her family history? And he said, absolutely. And so that was the plan I went with. And once the pathology came back and we discovered I was triple negative, I was told chemotherapy was necessary.
So as soon as I saw Dr. Kirby the first visit, he decided he wanted to do genetic testing to test me for the BRCA1 gene mutation, which I had never heard of. So I was like, okay, whatever you say. And of course it came back, and I did have the mutation.
So yes, I highly recommend, if you have a family history, get tested. It's important. If you don't have the test, the fear's not going away, because you're still not going to know. At least if you have the test, you have the information. And at that point, you can make some choices as to what you want to do with your health.
I think it's just wonderful that HudsonAlpha is right here in our back door, that the world, geneticists or world-class geneticists are here doing research and finding out things, and bringing in so many people to give talks on all the research that they've done and findings. It's just, how lucky are we to have that right here in Huntsville?
Your hair doesn't matter. Hair's hair. It's going to come out. It'll come back. It's not a big deal. I think that's a lot of people's big fears, losing their hair during chemotherapy, but it's just hair. I learned that bald is beautiful. Cancer is not a death sentence. It's just a way to learn. It's just something else that gives you a chance to learn, and that's what I took from it. And for me, it was a way to have a testimony.
It was a blessing, which sounds ridiculous, but I've heard other people say this too, and that you learn so many things through having cancer that you've never given thought to before. The one thing I found is it's like I have supersonic color vision. It's like greens are more green, the trees are more vibrant, the colors in nature just seem like they just zoom in at you, and I think it's just because you're more aware of it, of watching what's going on around you. The birds sing sweeter.
90% of the time I just kept going and said, we're going to get through this, God's going to get us through this, and we're going to be okay, and then we'll get back to life. I finished my last chemo treatment on July 20th and went back to work the beginning of August that year, and have been fine since.